setter.
I see some gas off the edge. Get that mindset to put your shoulder on somebody. Dig, drop, you're finished. Hey, first down. This is weird, kid. Worse than last time.
All right, everybody, welcome to the After Hours Jets Fest, the home of Justin Fields Hype Central. We got to do it. We got to get ourselves all pumped up for our new $40 million quarterback, $40 million. I'm GreenBean. I'm happy that you carved out some time this late in the evening to hang out with me. Eternally grateful I am. I enjoy this one. This is the only stream I have right now where it's just you and me. Remember, I used to do this if you were hanging out with me for the long haul. You remember I would do lots of these. We would just hang out all night. I was in my RV. We were driving around. I'd be in Ohio. I'd be in Puget Sound in Washington. I'd be in Moab in Utah, or down there in Florida and Ocala, all over the place. And I would just set up my little studio, my little on-the-road traveling studio, and I'd hang out and we'd shoot the breeze all night. But now this is the only show on my end where I get to just you and me, nice and intimate, where we can talk about whatever it is that we see fit. All right, everybody. Now, it turns out that we see fit a lot of the time to talk about the Jets. Imagine that. That's what we do. We also talk about things like boobies and butts. We do that sometimes. We talk about movies. We talk about drugs, whiskey, all that kind of shit. Anyway, I enjoy this one. And look, free agency really starts tomorrow as far as the NFL is concerned. But we have what we call the legal tampering window, which to me, I just don't know why we do this. There's got to be reasons. These suits, they like it this way. They'd rather negotiate, have a period of time where you can say you're going to do stuff, but you can't officially do it. And what that does is create an environment where teams like the New York Jets can have a deal. And the guy can go, wait a second, what did I just do? I signed with no. I'm not going there. And we have seen that. We've seen it for other teams as well. Not all that prevalent, but it does happen. And the environment is created where that can happen. But as you guys may or may not know, the New York Jets went out there on day one of the legal tampering period, and we chose to sign a young fella by name of Justin Fields. Now, if you'll remember, back in 2021, when we were a little bit younger, we had what we thought was a very strong quarterback class, at least up top. We had names like Trevor Lawrence. Word was he was what we call a generational talent, best quarterback prospect since Peyton Manning, or you could say Andrew Luck, right? We had Andrew Luck was also considered generational talent. Interestingly enough, the Indianapolis Colts were able to get Peyton Manning. He was fantastic his whole career, and then he gets injured and everything, and he doesn't play, and they have that down year, and they suck bad enough to get the first overall pick, and they get Andrew Luck. And that's a team that knows how to suck, right? I talk about it all the time. The New York Jets, we know how to be bad. We know how to be embarrassing and painful and a circus and a shit show and disappointing and all that stuff, but we don't know how to suck right. The Jets haven't had the first overall pick since 1997, everybody. That's 27 years. Count them up. 27 years. Much of that time, the New York Jets were among the bottom feeders of the league. We've had as high as the second overall pick. We've had the third overall pick. We've had the fourth overall pick. We have not figured out a way to control the draft. And even if that's for a trade back or what have you, we haven't figured that out. But in that year, we did have the number 2 overall pick. We also had the 23rd overall pick in that draft. via the Seattle trade, the Jamal Adams Seattle trade. We had 23 and then what ended up being the 10th overall pick of the following year. But the New York Jets chose to forego the potential groundbreaking and franchise-changing trade. We could have slid back with the 49ers, who gave the team behind us, the Miami Dolphins, 3 first-round picks and a third-round pick to jump up from 12. We could have slid back in that draft. Instead, we chose to take a young, good-looking wife or mother, what do you call it? MILF lover. That's the word I was looking for. MILF lover, Zach Wilson, strong-armed kid out of the University of Utah, right? Out there he was a Mormon state of Utah. So we take him, but in that same draft, we had Justin Fields. Now, before Zach Wilson catapulted up the charts, the draft boards, much of that season, it was really looking like a 2-quarterback draft up top. It was Trevor Lawrence. He was entrenched as the top quarterback on 99.9% of the boards, all but Chris Sims, of course, who had Zach Wilson as the top overall quarterback prospect. But it was Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. And then we had names like Trey Lance floating around. We also had guys like Kyle Trask, Mac Jones, Kellen Mond, some other guys. But it was looking like pretty solid quarterback class. Excuse me. Now, Justin Fields went to another perpetually terrible organization, the Chicago Bears. He had 2 coaching staffs there, numerous offensive coordinators, and has had moments of excitement, but by and large, he was a big flop, right? Now, we're going to take a look at some of his stats. Again, stats don't tell the whole story, of course, but we'll look at them nonetheless, and we'll get that up there. But he was a disappointing first-round pick for them, what they would call a draft bust for them, in the same way Zach Wilson was a draft bust for the New York Jets. Now, that said, he went to the Pittsburgh Steelers, got to start the beginning of the season. He was 4-2. Whoops, Justin Field Jets. Let's pull up his stats. And he had what we would kind of call, what I like to call, an efficient season. He was 4-2 as the starter, much of that really on the backs of the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, but he had his moments. He had 10 touchdowns, 1 interception, like Ryan pointed out in the previous stream, the Talking Jets panel on Talking Jets Network. There were some other turnover-worthy plays that Pittsburgh ended up getting back. So it's not, he doesn't get turnovers in the stat line. So it could have been worse, but still the numbers are the numbers. And he had 10 touchdowns, 7 in the air, 3 on the ground, and 1 interception. So he played efficient football. Now we're going to take a look at some stuff here. Let's take a look at his overall stats. Okay. So here's what we got. I love Pro Football Reference, by the way. Love them, love them, love them. So here we go. Again, came in the league 2021. Is that big enough for you? Let's do this. 2021, started 12 games started 10 games, played in 12 games. So he had 58.9 completion percentage, 1,870 yards, 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Very Zach Wilson-esque, right? He also had, let's see, we do rushing. Where's his rushing? Did I see it? Oh, we got to have rushing here for this guy. He was also sacked 36 times. Look at this, sacked 55 times his sophomore season. So let's look at it. So every year, 58.9 completion percentage, 60, a little uptick. And then for Pittsburgh, a nice, what we would, I think we'd call more substantial uptick. Nothing groundbreaking, but you see steady improvement with the completion percentage. You also see an increase in the yards, obviously, with only playing 6 games. 1,100 yards. So, so he had the 3 touchdowns on the ground as well. So I guess it's 8 touchdowns, not 10. My apologies. I thought it had the rushing stats for him here too. That's a little disappointing. I would like to see that. Anyway, all right. So let's take a look at his last season. So he had 106 completions for 161 attempts. Again, 65.8% completion percentage. And his overall quarterback rating, not the best, 93.3. But again, you can see the steady increase in production, right? So that's what you want to see. He's 26 years old, and you have steadily getting better. And one of the things I like with a guy like Justin Fields, if you remember, he came into the league hot. He was saying all kinds of crazy shit from the podium. He was calling people out, all that kind of stuff, because he came in with what? An ego. He's a top half of the first round pick, and he thinks he's the best thing since sliced bread. He's feeling a little snubbed. He thought he should have been maybe the first or second quarterback taken. He wasn't. He was the fourth quarterback taken in that draft. So he comes in, little bit of piss and vinegar. And what happens with guys when they have these unsuccessful periods, a couple things can happen. One is they go into a shell like Zach Wilson did, and kind of get worse and worse and worse. You remember Zach Wilson had no answers. He was just a shell of himself. There were rumors that he didn't even want to play. They wanted him to be the starter, and he said no. Robert Saleh said that wasn't the case, but then in the next game he played, he got hurt, and he was done the rest of the year anyway. So who knows what the truth is. But Justin Fields, on the other hand, went to Pittsburgh, played well, and is looking like a guy with maybe a chip on his shoulder, right? So you look. Now, there was a good comment I saw here from Vic Hess. Again, good morning, Vic. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. And this is a solid point that I wanted to bring up, because a lot of Jets fans feel the same way. I think this is a voice. This articulates what a lot of Jets fans are feeling, which is lifelong Jets fan here. But let's be real. He hasn't shown anything talking about Fields, of course, to lead me to believe he's going to succeed here. His third team in 5 seasons for a first-round quarterback pick has career journeyman vibes. Now, let's do this. Baker Mayfield had 3 teams in 3 years, okay? He was on Cleveland Browns. He went to the Carolina Panthers, and then he went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 3 teams in 3 years. Sam Darnold, now these are guys, I'm bringing up these two for comparison because it's exactly what you're talking about. Sam Darnold was on 3 teams in 3 years. Actually, he's now on his 4th team in 4 years. With the Seattle Seahawks, got himself a nice $30+ million contract per year for 3 years. So when you look at this, I totally hear you. Sam Darnold was, quite frankly, looking like hot garbage. He came out of the gate in Carolina very hot, started 3-0, was tossing the rock all over the place. Christian McCaffrey got hurt, and his safety valve was removed a little way through the season there. And Sam Darnold went into a 1.5-year skid where he really looked like ass most of the time. And he goes to San Francisco, and he's a backup quarterback, but he's in the Shanahan offense, which is one of the things guys like myself were saying about Sam. He developed what we call happy feet. He was a little bit shell-shocked here with the Jets, and the best case for him was to sit for a year. It's not what happened. They took him and they threw him right into the starting role in Carolina. Didn't work out, but he finally gets that chance to sit, Vic, and he goes to a very, very well thought of offensive mind in Kyle Shanahan, and he sits for a year. He gets in the game. He played a little bit. He looked okay, and then he had some turnovers, so it was Sammy-esque, but he goes to Minnesota as really the backup quarterback. They traded up a pick or, one spot in the draft with the Jets to grab J.J. McCarthy as a top 10 pick. So that's going to be your starter, most likely, even if Sam started a couple games. He was really brought in to be the backup quarterback. As we know, J.J. McCarthy had the knee injury and ended up starting the whole year 15-2 record. So a guy on his 3rd team in 3 years, ends up going 15-2 because he got to sit for the lion's share of the season and kind of get his bearings, right? Recoup, reset, if you will. Now, Justin Fields, not quite the same offensive mind from, as Kyle Shanahan, but Arthur Smith, while he's not really a very good head coach, is considered a good offensive mind in the NFL. Not too long ago, was hired as a head coach because of his offensive prowess. Didn't work out in Atlanta, but was also considered in this coaching cycle as a head coach. So he's definitely a well-regarded offensive mind. So Justin Fields sitting behind Russell Wilson in the Arthur Smith offense for a much, much more well-run organization, the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially when you compare it to a team like the Bears, gets to kind of push reset. Baker Mayfield, the same thing. So he went to Carolina. Sam Darnold was the starter. Imagine that. They had 2 of the top 3 picks of a draft just a couple years earlier on their team as quarterbacks. But so he goes to Tampa Bay and he gets that fresh start after sitting for a little while with the Panthers, right? So it's really a recipe for these young guys when they come from shitty organizations, right? Sam Darnold, the New York Jets, Baker Mayfield, the Cleveland Browns, and Justin Fields, the Chicago Bears. I mean, these are teams that are perpetually near the front end of the draft, right? So they get a chance to sit for a minute. They go to another team and they play well. So that's actually in his favor. Like, I totally get what you're saying and why you're looking at it that way. It makes a ton of sense. But the other side of it also makes sense, Vic, which is our most recent kind of data is that these young quarterbacks getting an opportunity to take that minute without the pressure, go to maybe a little bit better run organization. You can't really say that about the Carolina Panthers for Baker Mayfield, but still getting that time to not be the starter the whole time. Baker Mayfield went to the Rams as well, so it was actually 4 teams in 3 years. So forgive me. And he played. Remember that? He fucking got signed and played in the game and played lights out in the next game. So he ended up being with McVay for a little while. So again, one of those things where this could actually bode very well for Justin Fields if you look at it through the right lens. Now, J.J. Hamza has been very, very vocal about this and is not in the Justin Fields is going to succeed camp. And look, I get it. Truth be told, I'm not a Justin Fields guy. Right? I'm really not. But again, I'm trying to look at things as objectively as I can. Even if Justin Fields doesn't succeed as the New York Jets quarterback, even if he doesn't, it's still the smart play right now. It's still the smart play because there is the opportunity to do the Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield shuffle here. It's still that opportunity. Again, young guy, not great improvement, but steady improvement nonetheless. If you go up here and you look at his season, where is it? Hold on. Where's the, come on. I thought, yeah. Where is it? Oh, they had his in-season stats. Anyway. Still improvement, nonetheless. It's there. It's undeniable. It's there. Again, not groundbreaking, not something you want to say, oh, totally, this guy's guaranteed, right? We're not saying that. But there has been improvement. He's 26 years old. He's incredibly athletic, super strong arm, great with his feet. So there's positives there. It's a great swing. It's a 2-year contract. So again, if he doesn't work out this year and we end up sucking, it bodes well for next year's quarterback class. It's gearing up to be significantly stronger, especially if Archie Manning comes out. It's looking like a much stronger class, so you're kind of setting yourself up for that, and you could do a lot worse than Justin Fields as your number 2 quarterback. But it's an opportunity to catch that lightning in a bottle, especially if they decide, hey, man, maybe we do take a Jalen Milroe or somebody like that in this draft, and just look, let's make the plan to sit and develop him. If they're really confident in Tanner Engstrand and our quarterback coach's ability to develop these guys, this style of quarterback, that athletic, mobile, strong arm, even though both of them kind of have accuracy issues and all that kind of shit, it's a good swing as opposed to bringing in a Kirk Cousins. When they were talking about Mariota, JJ, think about that, dude. That was like, okay, the plan better be to tank if they bring JJ or a Marcus Mariota in here, because let me tell you something, there's no fucking chance. That guy's hot garbage. Like, there's a difference between Mariota, in my opinion, between Mariota and Justin Fields. I mean, Mariota, when he was down there, I believe it was Atlanta, and he got that starting opportunity after the Titans, it was like, I mean, dude, he looked utterly lost. Just the most ridiculously ill-advised decision-making and all that kind of stuff. He was garbage. So anyway, I think the swing, no matter, and people talk about, oh, it's more money. Dude, the money is ridiculous. The salary cap is a joke. They manipulate it every single year. It goes up every year. It went up $30 million this year. And it's going to go up, maybe not 30 million, but it's going to go up another 15, 20 million next year. This stuff it's not the place to really focus, in my opinion. Now, if we gave them 50 million a year, now that's a different story, right? But dude, his cap hit, I think, is 9 million this year. It's no big deal. It's something like that. It's not that big of a deal. I could care less about the money. It's fine for me. A little bit more than I thought he'd get, but I really don't care. Like, that's the smallest of the potatoes. Now let's talk about this before I get to the next super chat. Now let me say, look at Tim. He doesn't suck. He just has his feelings, Tim. That's all. But I want to say, let me say, Squirmy Weasel's in here. My buddy Billy SBC's in here. Boogie Down Dave's in the house. Chitty Tookie's in the house. Look at these guys. Paris is here. Rusty Spooner. All you guys are here. Zaz and Harris Bornstein, Kevin Callahan, Collagen, TL, all you guys. I want to just say hello. It's good to see everybody. Kyle Ofer's here. Good to see you, Kyle. My buddy Jets Mess is in the house. So hello, everybody. Hello. So the other thing that is really kind of an X factor in all this is that, and I know it's been a minute that they've played together, but there really is, again, an X factor level intangible type of a thing that Justin Fields has already worked well, high level well, with Garrett Wilson, our number one wide receiver, which I'm hoping gets a $30 million 4-year contract, $30 million per for 4 years this offseason. Dude, extend them. What I would do is I would tack that onto his rookie deal. So I would make it like a 5 or 6 year contract. That's what I would do. Give him a nice fat signing bonus up front, the whole thing. He already has experienced high-level success with our leading receiver, Garrett Wilson, and a guy that has regressed since joining the Jets, tight end Jeremy Ruckert, who, look, I wasn't thinking Jeremy Ruckert was going to be the next George Kittle or something like that, but I liked him a lot coming out. As you guys know, and Jeremy Ruckert's father has brought it to my attention on numerous occasions, face-to-face, when we hung out for a few minutes together at training camp. I wanted a linebacker. I was very vocal about a linebacker at that pick in the draft. And when we took Jeremy Ruckert, it wasn't necessarily the position I wanted to grab because we just signed 2 tight ends in free agency. But I liked Jeremy Ruckert coming out. I believe, quite frankly, he's another victim of the previous offensive coaching staff. They've shown no ability to develop a single player in the entire 4 years that they were here. Imagine that. Numerous offensive players. Like, if they weren't just great, like first round pick Garrett Wilson, like second round pick Breece Hall, like if they didn't come in with that pedigree, we didn't take 1 4th rounder, 5th round, not one player that we took came in here and was developed. And conversely, we actually brought in high-level free agents and they regressed here. Whether it's Jerome, I keep calling him Jerome Brown, Dwayne Brown, Tomlinson, Like guys get Tyron Smith, they came here and they regressed here. Players leave here and they look better. Tomlinson looks fine again. Chuma Edoga, they made him a guard too down in, I think it's New Orleans or the Texans. He's playing well. Obviously, Mekhi Becton, we couldn't figure him out. So like, it's quite the opposite. So I'm a firm believer that Ruckert is just another victim of a piss poor offensive staff, and he played at a high level with Justin Fields as well. So he's coming in here with two of his former offensive weapons, if you will, in G-Dubs and Ruckert, and they're reunited here. So I think that's something that can't be ignored, guys. This is a very, very positive situation. Again, if he sucks and we end up having a 5-win season or something like that again, and we have a top 10 pick, I mean, dude, we're in the quarterback market next year. And hell, maybe we trade up a spot or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's all well and good. I think this is the swing. We should be excited about this. Even if you don't like Justin Fields, like what's the other option? You're going to bring Kirk Cousins in here? You're going to bring Marcus Mariota in here? You're going to go with Tyrod Taylor, who's unlikely to make it through the whole season? Jordan Travis is a huge question mark. We have no idea what he is. We don't even know if he'll be healthy. It's sad. I love Jordan Travis as a prospect, but it's like we don't know what he's going to be. So anyway, let's see. Let's see what we got here. Where is it? Where did it go? There it is. My buddy Sam Aiken checking in. What's up, Sam? Good to see you. This ends badly. I've never heard of Justin working diligently on his accuracy or getting better. Have you? What will be different in this scenario? Well, the truth is I have not either, but I admittedly haven't paid attention to that degree to Justin Fields. I'd have to dig. You know what I mean? So I can't say one way or the other. One thing I can say is that his teammates speak highly of him. And when he did have DJ Moore, they had a great season together. Let's look DJ Moore here real quick, who's a stud muffin, by the way. And Sam Darnold had him too. What's going on here? Wait, DJ Moore. Here he goes. So what season was that? So Justin Fields' rookie season, DJ Moore. Oh, no. I'm sorry. 2023. Right. So 2023, Justin Fields throwing to DJ Moore. He had 1,364 yards and 8 touchdowns. So again, when you give him that guy, dude, he's had some success. That's the thing. Again, I'm not saying Justin Fields was great. Again, I'm not a Justin Fields guy per se, but I love the swing. He has had some success. And guys, I'm like I talked about with like head coaches when we were doing that whole thing. Remember what I wanted? I wanted a head coach who had a head coaching position and it didn't work out. Why? Because I want them to have made their mistakes, learn their, make all their mistakes, learn the ropes, all that stuff, get humbled for somebody else, and let us get the guy who's kind of on the other end of that. Okay, I've gained a little humility. I've seen what the NFL is now. I know I'm not going to be able to do this and that and the other thing. Learn to play smart football, learn what to do and what not to do. I think that's actually a good scenario. And again, we saw it work out with Sam Darnold. We saw it work out with Baker Mayfield and Geno Smith. It took a little bit longer, but he's been great the last, 4 or 5 years now, 4 years, I think. And now he's the Raiders starting quarterback. So crazy. Pete Carroll likes Geno Smith enough that he traded Russell Wilson, who everybody was blown away by. At the time we went to Denver, he looked like a shell of himself. But at the time, everybody was like blown away. It was a huge trade in the NFL. So Pete Carroll liked Geno Smith enough to trade Russell Wilson, Super Bowl winning quarterback, for Geno Smith. And then now the coach of the Raiders liked him enough to trade for him and make him his starting quarterback in Las Vegas. So, I mean, shit. We'd have to look into that one, Sam. I don't know. His teammates speak highly of him. They like him. Garrett Wilson likes him too. So that's what I got for you. I don't look. I'll tell you this though, Sam. I also haven't heard that in his contracts they got to write things in there like we'll study this much time a week, like Kyler Murray. You know what I mean? That's a whole different thing. At least we haven't heard that. Look at his fourth quarter stats. Pull them up. Show me. Send me a link. Where do I look at his fourth quarter stats? Where would I find that? Fourth quarter stats. Let me know, JJ. I'm happy to look at it. So he's a choker, a choke artist, right? It's like what, remember Vinny Testaverde had when he came. He had the moniker of, it doesn't matter how well that guy plays throughout the game, he's throwing a pick six exactly when you don't need him to. He's got an uncanny ability. That's when he's doing it. Right when you don't need a fourth quarter, up by 6, he throws a pick six. That's Vinny Testaverde. And we saw him turn that around, which, by the way, is the last reclamation project that the Jets really had. Armani AD. Good to see you, buddy. It's been a minute. We spent lots of Sundays together this season, last couple seasons. It's good to see you stopping by to show some love. You to Mangry. Well, thank you, man. That's great. That's great. That touches my heart and soul, Armani. Armani, if you guys remember, we had a lot of fun with this year because he put a comment up there when the game turned. As soon as we put his super chat up there, everything turned, and we kept it up there for the rest of the game. Ended up winning the game, and then we used that comment throughout the season. Didn't work as much as we needed it to, but it's hard to have a comment override Tyron Smith fucking giving up 5 sacks and all that kind of shit, But it's good to see you, man. Thank you for stopping by, and I appreciate the super chat. Mumtaz, there he is, the legend, checking in. GreenBean, not to rain on your parade, but we just opened a hole in the secondary by signing Stevens, and Cisco is low rated too. We don't address D-line or offensive line and short few tight ends, wide receivers. We are going for a high pick next year. Well, listen, here's the thing. I'm not trying to tell you that the Jets are winning the Super Bowl or that we're going to go deep into the playoffs. I mean, look, I would love to get a 9-win season and just end this damn streak of ours of not making the playoffs. That would be a rousing success for me, Mumtaz. But here's the thing. Last year when the Jets signed, and we've talked about it, and I know I'm kind of beating a dead horse here, but Simpson's a great example of this. Most Jets fans thought that Joe Douglas signing Simpson was him doing his normal frugal, taking the cheap way out, right? Kind of getting a low-rated guy, what Joe Douglas kind of does. He goes for that middling low, he wasn't really highly ranked. He ended up being very, very solid for us last year. So, look, Aaron Glenn, Cisco's a 1-year contract. He's he's about to be 25 years old. He's been a starter since his rookie season, 3rd-round pick. He's pretty good. But let's see what he does here. Aaron Glenn goes out there and grabs 2 defensive backs, young guys that he likes. Obviously, with the thought that they have what he's looking for. That's why they're here. I can't honestly tell you that I'm psyched about these guys, right? Like, I'm not excited. I like that Aaron Glenn's going out there, Muji, obviously, but Aaron Glenn is, he's not going to get players Aaron Glenn's not wanting. So there's a reason that those guys are here. So we might not like them yet, but let's see how they do in our defense before we really pass judgment. We're going to address defensive line in the draft. And you want to know why, Mumtaz? Because it would be not that we're not going to sign a free agent or two, but this draft is deep in defensive linemen. So it's one of the strongest defensive lineman drafts in a long time. So why wouldn't we do that? Why wouldn't you utilize the draft for what it's offering? The draft's not strong in quarterback. So what are we going to do? You had so many Jets fans wanting to trade up for Cam Ward. And it's not to say that he won't be a good quarterback, but it's really not the year to do that. Like last year's quarterback class, he's probably the 5th quarterback taken. 4th or 5th quarterback taken. So why are you going to force a square peg in a round hole. You know what I mean? So it's really smart, and I hope this is what we're going to see. It looks like it, but we won't know till the draft is done, Mumtaz. But it looks like the Jets have an awareness of what the draft has in it, what it's strong in. It's strong in positions like defensive line, tight ends, very, very strong tight end class. Safety, not quite as strong, but it's pretty deep. Linebackers. So it's what I like to call a blue-collar draft. It's the draft where you're going to do some of the dirty work. You know, it's not so packed full of like that premier position players. It's not that rich with that. Look at last year's top 10, right? Like, let's take a look real quick. Let's rehash the 2024 NFL draft, okay? Just look at this draft. Let's take a look, Mumtaz. You and me, buddy. All right, here we go. So let's take a look at this top 10. All right. So it starts with Caleb Williams. You know, he's over there in Chicago. He had very, very exciting moments, but, you know, he had what you would, I think you'd say a standard rookie quarterback season for a bad team. Jaden Daniels, stud muffin supreme. Drake May. So 3 quarterbacks right out of the gate. Marvin Harrison, the 4th pick. He's better than any wide receiver in this entire draft. You start that with Joe Alt. You know, you go Marvin Harrison. So you got 3 quarterbacks already. Marvin Harrison, Joe Alt. That right there is more like kind of premier talent than this draft has in it. Then you follow that with Malik Neighbors. Again, Marvin Harrison and Malik Neighbors are both the top wide receiver in this class. And you take a look, we're at pick 7. You were already at 2 tackles taken. Michael Penix, the 4th quarterback taken in 8 picks. Now we're at our 3rd wide receiver in 9 picks. 5 quarterbacks taken in the top 5. 5 quarterbacks taken in the top 5. Now, maybe Cam Ward is the 4th quarterback. Maybe he's the 3rd quarter. You know what I mean? But he's definitely not. He's definitely not the 1st or 2nd quarterback in this draft. There's no doubt about it. And then look, Olu Fashanu. So we're at our 3rd offensive tackle, 6th quarterback. Then you got the great Brock Bowers. He would be the top tight end in this class as well. Then we got our 5th offensive tackle. Our first edge rusher is at pick 15. Think about that. That's how nutrient rich this draft really was. Then you got a defensive tackle, another defensive tackles. So here comes the defensive ends. 15, 17, 19. You know what I mean? So this draft was premium position rich. Left tackles, quarterbacks, wide receivers, edge rushers, they're everywhere. Cornerbacks. You know what I mean? So it's a different deal this year, and it just so happens, Mumtaz, we have needs, we have holes, just like you're saying. Defensive line, tight ends. Dude, it's my opinion we shouldn't even sign any tight ends. You got Jeremy Ruckert. I'd love to see Yeboah brought back. I don't know what this team, they don't know him. I don't know if that's possible or likely. I have no idea. I'd love to see him brought back and have a chance to contribute and be a part of a 21st century offense. I think he'd be great. But we'll see. But as opposed to going and paying big money for a tight end, dude, you can grab 2 tight ends, 2 defensive tackles in this draft, and it would make perfect sense. Perfect sense. And you can get a right tackle in the 3rd. Easy. So I think it's very important. It's very important to look at this season for what it is. Not to say that we don't want to try to win games and you want to see what Justin Fields is for you. right? You want to see what this guy is. Can he be our quarterback? Realistically, not like, he had some moments where if that's what it is, then he's Justin Fields and you just leave him as your backup quarterback and you go get one in next year's draft. But this year really is about plugging the holes, moving the age of the team down. Like, I don't know what the story is with CJ Mosley, but I'm delighted that they re-signed Jamie Sherwood. He's our starter. If Mosley's on the team, and he's, depth, or maybe he's our weak side linebacker. I don't know. But we don't know. But you see it. Aaron Rodgers, gone. Devontae Adams, gone. Morgan Moses, gone. Obviously, Tyron Smith, he was gone already. But they're looking to get, Solomon Thomas, gone. Kinlaw, gone. Kinlaw's not that old. But you're seeing like a concerted effort to get younger with the team. And I think that's important. You got a new offensive staff, a new coaching staff, but a new, hopefully 21st century offensive mind in here. And you bring everything down. You get, you settle it down. You get rid of the aged guy. The Alan Lazard's got to go. Everybody out of here. All these kind of old mindset guys that aren't a part of our future. Get rid of all of them and start plugging holes. This is the draft to plug in our tight ends, our safety, our defensive tackle, our linebackers. That's what this draft really, and I still think we should use. That's why I think we should use the top pick for a weapon, because as the draft goes on, it gets really difficult to find a guy that's likely to give you, valuable snaps this year, valuable reps. So, hey, look, and if it just so happens that it doesn't work and you're able to plug some of those holes with young guys, now you're going into next year, you got a high pick, you get your quarterback, and you got guys that are now going to be playing together for a while. See what I mean? It's a win-win. Danger Zone checking in. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Timing of moves gives me hope. We sought them. What do you mean we sought them? Timing of the moves gives me hope. I'm not sure what you mean. Dano. I got to try to think here. Anybody know what? Give me a little bit more explanation there, buddy, so I can figure it out. The timing of the moves. Well, what I can say is I like that they just went out like first order of business. Let's get our quarterback. Let's get our quarterback in here. You know what I mean? Aaron Glenn likes this cornerback. Whatever. Bring him in. If you like him, let's see what Aaron Glenn can do with the guy. Aaron Glenn's a defensive back. That's what he is. Let's see what he brought. Think about that. We got our quarterback, and the first two moves were two defensive backs. You gotta wait a sec. Just because we don't like them, or don't know enough about them. We're not really aware of them. And we look at, you go, what do? You look at PFF and you look at some stats and shit and you go, I hate this guy. Now, I think the one telling thing that, the most important is that, like Tigo brought out recently, you got to pay attention to what the fans think, right? Because the fans are the one watching these guys all this time. And the Ravens are a top-notch organization. So it's rarely going to be like, you can't say that about the Jets. With the Ravens, it's rarely going to be, well, they didn't know how to use this guy, right? That's rarely going to be the case. So that's important. With the Jets, it's like, you look, our offensive guys, like I pointed out, we don't develop offense here. We have not developed a single offensive player in 4 straight years. 4 years. Not one offensive player. Now, they've done it a little bit on the defense. Jamie Sherwood's a great example. Michael Carter II is a great example, right? Bryce Huff was a great example. They did a good job with him. Let's see if LT3 can continue to develop here. But he looked like he was really, he had some stellar moments for us last year. I'd like to see now he's only was there 1 year. I'd love to see if this staff, likes him and keeps him as a part of the plan, because guys, if he's a very, very good third down defensive tackle, man. I mean, shit. So I hope that they like him, and not for nothing, that's one of our answers at defensive tackle. Why not? I just don't know if he's a starter, like a 3-down guy yet. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Let's see where we are here. Let's see how many likes we got on this video. We got 200 on YouTube, another 212 on Twitter. I only got 72 likes. Let's give me those milk thumbs, everybody. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Squeeze those udders. Squeeze them for me. Hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, that would be greatly appreciated. I'm not getting many subs these days. I don't know what it is. Probably because my content is down. I haven't even done my podcast in about 2 months. Isn't that crazy? I did that shit every week for like 3 years. So I got to get back on that one. But I can't pull it together, man. I got so fucking tired. I'm working like literally today. I started at 8 a.m. today. So I'm working 2 other jobs, starting a company and doing another company that I'm kind of helping to, get over a threshold. They've hit a ceiling. So I'm trying to help that. So I'm going back and forth between these 2 companies. And so today I've been working since 8 a.m. I took a 45-minute nap, which was really probably worse. It probably was more detrimental than helpful. Took me a little while to get out of that one. I wanted to go to bed, I think. But from 8 in the morning till midnight, it's a long fucking day, man. So it's hard to squeeze it in. So maybe that's why I'm not getting the subs. But I think you should sub right now. If you haven't subbed already, give me that subscribe. Right, Adirondack. I'm the godfather of the Jets podcast. Been around a long time. Now, admittedly, I was watching O'Leary and Ryan before I got started. So they were definitely first on YouTube. But I'm early. I'm early in the mix. I think GGD was out there, Gangrene David. Boy Green had his podcast, but he wasn't on YouTube yet. Let's see. Who else was out there? Obviously, Jet Nation was out there. They had the Jet Nation Jet Nation had a little bit of a YouTube thing going on, but when I came on, that's where I started, was Jet Nation. So when I came on, that was really the first big push that Jet Nation did. So that's where it all started for me. But they were like more focused on the podcast, which they still do, but now they have the YouTube channel with Glenn Naughton and our buddies Glenn and Dylan. They're awesome. Dylan Terraman. So they're over there at Jet Nation. But yeah, man. So yeah, but I'm part of the early first wave, man. Again, O'Leary and Ryan were here, Gangrene David, but that's kind of it. That's kind of it. I was like, early in this shit. Now we got plenty of channels. We got a whole bunch of channels now, don't we? We got a lot. Fresh says we need a wide receiver. Oh, I couldn't agree more, buddy. Right now, our wide receiving core literally looks like this. Garrett Wilson, Malachi Corley. That's really it. I mean, I guess Irv Charles was, extended futures, I think. But he's a special teamer. That's what he is. He's a very, very top shelf special teamer. He's not really going to give you much impact on the offensive side of the ball, unless that something happens and he turns that around. I don't know, maybe, but that's not really what he does. So Xavier Gibson, I think, is still here, and Lazard is technically still on the team, but he's not long for the team. They're going to end up cutting him, I would say. They gave him permission to seek a trade. I mean, what are they going to get for Alan Lazard? What do you think? 7th? Would you take it? I'd take a 7th for Alan Lazard. Sure. So JJ Hamza says they're going to blitz like crazy. Fields can't read it. That's all right. What do you do? What do you do when they blitz? Let them blitz. If your offensive coordinator is worth his salt and the team's going to blitz, all you do is you do a bunch of delayed runs, you throw into the blitz, short pass, let use their aggression against them, just like a lot of teams did to the Jets. Remember for 2 years, we couldn't stop a screen? Remember that? It took us 2 years to figure that out in Saleh's defense. Remember that? It was painful. We would be this hair on fire defense, and they would just use our aggression against us. Go ahead. Let your guys come in blindly. We just boop, throw a little screen, and you make them pay, and then what happens? Everybody has to settle down. That's all. I'm not worried about it. We're going to see how it goes. We're going to see how it goes. See, New York Jets fan 4th has got the right idea. Let's get me those like buttons and the subscribers, everybody. That would be greatly appreciated. If you're on Twitter, give me a follow. What do you think about that? Give me a little follow out there. That'd be nice. I could use some followers on Twitter. Yeah, Kim says cotton milk. There you go, Kim. Nice base. I love it. Let's see. So Brandon L says Fields is a win-win. If he's good, we potentially have our next QB1. If he stinks, we get a high pick and a quarterback strong draft. Brandon, that's exactly. I don't know why people can't see that. Like JJ Hamza is kind of the most vocal, but he's not alone out there. People that are just really upset by this signing. I don't get it. Like, again, I'm not necessarily a Fields guy. Like, look, if we could turn around and get Justin Herbert in here, right? Like, that's a different story, right? Fair? But this is a win-win. You got a guy with incremental increase, improvement in production, had some time to sit. He's super young, crazy athletic with a rocket arm. 5 years of NFL or 4 years of NFL experience. Like, why not? You know what I mean? And just like I said, if it doesn't work, if he sucks, we get a high pick in the draft. And then you get your quarterback. Like, it's just, I don't know. It seems, you said it best. It's win-win. And Brian Farrell says a wide receiver is going to get more money than a tight end. But if that tight end is priceless, they don't come out often. Yeah, and dude, and this happens to be one of the strongest tight end classes I've seen in a minute. Like, truly. With guys that are like any one of them. Even like Mason Taylor in most drafts is like the second or third tight end on the board. And he's not in this draft. Man, my eyes are freaking out. Forgive me, everybody. So, I think, look, if the Jets decide to go Tyler Warren with pick 7, if we can't get a trade partner, or even if you do, let's say you slide back to 12, you pick up a second, and you take Tyler Warren at 12 if he's there. Dude, I'm totally fine with that. Now, if they take Tet McMillan or Abuka or Golden or, one of those guys, dude, I'm totally fine with that. Like, we need wide receivers. We need tight ends. We need defensive tackles. We need safety. We need a linebacker. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, you can really go with the best player available at a position of need. The only thing I'll say with wide receiver up top is that it really does thin out. Like, this class is just not that deep at wide receiver. It's really not. Like, I like some of the guys later. Like, I love Savion Williams. I'm a huge Nick Nash guy. I think Nick Nash is the perfect guy. Like, he's going to slip because he's raw. He's going to slip. He's going to be that 5th round range. And he's the exact type of guy that you're going to get a gem in the 5th round. And it's high time that the Jets start doing some of that. Like, if he had one more year in the cooker, we're talking about a 2nd or 3rd round pick. He's coming out now. You get him, you bring him on. He's the epitome of a possession receiver. He's not blazing fast. He's not super strong. He's got great hands. He's crazy smart, and he knows how to get open. He just knows where the soft spots in the zone are. It's a knack. He knows how to do that. He knows exactly where to break off to be into the soft spot in the zone. If he develops chemistry with a quarterback, he's going to be your 3rd round hero. He's a perfect guy to have around. You need those guys. Like, he's not catching the ball deep. He's not breaking one for 80 yards. He's not doing that stuff for you. But on 3rd down, He's the guy who's open. You know what I mean? It's like Wayne Corbett. Wayne Corbett knew how to get open. And when you threw him the ball, it was like he had glue on his hands. That's what you want. Like when you look at like RAS scores or, all the metrics and all that, you look at a guy like Wayne Corbett and you go, no way. Right? He was 12th on our training camp depth chart for wide receiver. Remember the old story? Security didn't even believe that he was a member of the team. They told, hey, what are you doing breaking in here? He got stopped. He's not, but what does he do? He comes on here and he's just a guy. He knows how to get open. He outworks you. He's super football smart and he's got great hands. That's all you need. Like you need those guys. And I love Nick Nash. I love, like I said, Savion Williams, different story. Big guy. Let me see here. Let me show you guys. Let me just look at, there's another guy. I was just talking about him in the last stream, but I can't remember. I'm just so tired. I fucking forget his name. But where's my guy? Dante Thornton out of Tennessee. 6'4", 215 pounds. Dude, exciting. And he's the guy, big and strong, deep threat, great hands. And once he gets going, he's got that, I like to say, Brad Smith. He's got that Brad Smith stride, like big, strong legs. He's not quick. He's not going to zippy-de-doo-dah. But once he gets cooking, nobody's catching him. I love that kind of player. I love it. So anyway, let's see what JJ checking back in, I think. Yeah, there he is. So JJ Hamza, thank you, buddy. He says, I know it's a win-win, but I still have to sit in the stadium and watch. At least Winston would be fun. Lots of gummies this season. Yeah, I know. Look, and I'm right there with you. Like Jameis Winston, is not going to be your long-term answer. He's just not. But he's going to give you some very exciting games, and he's an absolute delight. The guy is just so fun to watch and listen to. He's got a great personality. Everybody loves him. He's funny. So you get that energy in the house. So I wasn't against that idea, but I think Justin Fields, while it's a long shot, right? It's not to say that it's not, but I think Justin Fields has there's legitimate potential to catch lightning in the bottle with Justin Fields. Jameis Winston is Jameis Winston. He's going to give you those exciting games. He's going to throw for 3 touchdowns and 380, and he's also going to throw for 3 interceptions and a pick 6. You know what I mean? It's what you're going to get. It's what you're going to get. Like even as your backup, where did he just sign? He just signed somewhere, right? Let me see. Jameis, I think let me see. Where did he go? Oh, he's still on the Browns. Okay. I thought he got signed somewhere. Yeah, he's talking to the Niners and the Chargers right now. 49ers expressing interest in quarterback Jameis Winston. So I'm with you. I am. But I think this actually gives you a little, again, long shot, but legitimate opportunity to catch lightning in a bottle. Infrared checking in says, I fucking hate when our Jets pump that hope Kool-Aid in our blood. Yeah, we like to call it hopium, Infrared. We're all to take a little shot of hopium. That's the Jets are hopium dealers. That's what they are. I told you guys, it's a sitcom. It's not even really football. I mean, technically, we're watching football, but the Jets are more concerned with the hopium. They're hopium dealers. Hope Kool-Aid. That's so good. And it says, I'm allergic to Kool-Aid. I don't want any. Just take your gummies and eat some fucking expensive hot diggity dogs. They still sell Knishes in the stadium. I don't think I saw them last year. I missed the Knishes. Remember the Giant Stadium Knishes? They were great. Oh, Ty Felton's another one. Yeah, we were talking about him last night, Ricky. Ty Felton. Let me see. Ty Felton, 6'1". That's what I was looking for. 186. So I'm telling you, dude, if we could get like a Ty Felton. I know Savion Williams, another one, 6'4", 225 pounds. Savion, I think he's got a little bit of the dropsies, though. You know what I mean? Like, I really like him. But, I tell you, is there anything more annoying? Like, truly, other than Zach Wilson running 25 yards behind the line of scrimmage in circles and shit like that, and then throwing it, he's going to throw it out of bounds, and he throws it inbounds, and they intercept it. Like, that's clearly the worst. But is there anything other than that that's worse than watching your wide receiver especially like on a 3rd and 12, right? 3rd and 12 in the fourth quarter, and your wide receiver breaks to the middle. He's wide open. Your quarterback hits him in stride and he fucking drops it. Is there anything worse in the game of football than that? It's like the worst. So, but anyway, I like Ty Felton too. I'll tell you what, we were talking about Jack Besh. I got to look into him. I didn't really look a lot at him, but I like Trey Harris out of Ole Miss. So there's a few wide. Don't get me wrong. Like when we say that a draft is strong in one and weak in the, it doesn't mean that there aren't going to be great players that come out at the weak position. It's just saying that you're more likely to get strong, a solid contributor. You're more likely to hit at these positions than these positions. And in recent years, wide receiver has been packed. Like every year, it seems like there's like 10, 15 wide receivers that are just studs coming into the league. This year, it's just a little lighter. It's a little lighter. Like the topic, like I'm looking at this board here. They got Tet McMillan 1. They got Luther Burden at number 2. Now he's a scatty guy. He's shorter, faster. So I don't know if that's what we're looking for. I mean, I'll tell you what, I'm done with Xavier Gibson. I hope this team is just, they looked at him and said, no way. Like, that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that these guys just go, yeah, there's no reason for him to be here. He's not an effective punt returner. He has his moments, but he's more of a liability in the return game than he is an impact. We let Codrington go to the fucking Bills. He's first game, he has a 50-yard return. We're sitting here with bottom end Xavier Gibson. He's pushing guys off the team. You can't have Corley on the active roster because Gibson's taking a spot. He pushed Nicole Hardman off the team. Like, it's just crazy. Again, dude, like the Robert Saleh regime, they had no ability to not only to develop anybody, but to that talent evaluation piece was way off with these guys. So anyway, who knows what they're looking for? Maybe they do want to bring in a nice speed guy for the slot. Luther Burden would fit that one. You also got Isaiah Bond in that role, but they got Tet McMillan, Luther Burden, Ibuka, who I would be ecstatic if we come away with if we trade back and grab Ibuka, another Ohio State guy. Fuck it. Let's Ohio State Buckeye, like they said, the Jedis. I like that. The New York Jedis. I love it. Do it. Then there's Matthew Golden, of course. He had the kind of the most impactful combine in the wide receiver group. But then they got Trey Harris, Jaden Higgins, Isaiah Bond, Besh, Royals, right, from Utah, Ty Felton. So there's quite a few guys. Again, I prefer, like, out of the batch, I'm Tet McMillan, Ibuka. I like Trey Harris. I like Ty Felton, but I like Savion Williams. I like where's that? Like I said, Dante Thornton, Nick Nash. Like, those are my guys this year. Danger Zone checking back in. GreenBean, you ever measured the beard? You're at 2.5 inches? No, I haven't. Let me see. Do I have a I don't think I have my tape measure in here. I do a lot of the time, but I don't think I do. I have lots of tools in here. But no, I have never. I'm probably at like 4 inches, 5. About 4 inches, I'd say. 3, 4, 3.5. I never have. Yeah. Well, I'm thinking of shaving it. I'm getting tired of it. but I just kind of shave it and refresh the face. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I do it after the draft so you guys don't see it. Check out Pat Bryant from Illinois. Yeah, 6'2", 208. I'd love to watch some highlights, but then they take my videos down. I'm really on, I don't know what it is. I'm on YouTube's radar. Like they're all over me. I get warnings all the time. I don't do shit. I get warnings all the time. Like I'll say to me, Matt, and Ryan, we talk a lot. So like, we'll all do something similar and I get a warning and they don't. Like, I don't know what it is. They're like, really? You got another warning for that? I told you I got a warning. Like when I watched, I used to film my the games. I'd film my podcast on Sundays after the game. And like, you see, like right here, there's a TV. So that's where I watch the games. And like, there have been times where I was filming and the camera would catch like the corner of the screen. I got a fucking warning from the NFL. Okay, it wasn't a warning. It was the NFL took my ad revenue because on the corner of the screen you could see the helmets. Like what the hell are we doing? So I got to be more careful than others for whatever reason. I told you guys last year I was demonetized because, listen to this. So I would demonetize for two reasons. One was I was simulcasting. So they allow you to do this. You can stream to more than one channel at the same time. So for a couple years, I was simulcasting from this channel and Jet Nation. I would put the live streams on Jet Nation. So it was still me making the content. They gave me a strike for that and said that my content was based on another channel's content. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's me. I'm doing the content. But you're not talking to humans anymore. You're talking to an algorithm. The other thing they got me for was I was just taking like Instagram reels. I would just say something funny. I would put up a little Instagram and I would just share it on Instagram. And but I wouldn't monetize them. I would just leave it. I would just put them up there as shorts, And they got me for that. And again, they said my entire channel is based on other people's content. When I appealed it, you have to do all this stuff. Like you have to show them your studio. You got to tell them how all the stuff. You got to tell them like what you do to prepare for your videos. And so I did this whole fucking video on what my studio was. I showed them all the stuff that 99% of my content is literally me talking. I don't script it. I don't do anything. I got the response to the appeal in 10 minutes. They didn't look at anything. Maybe it was a little bit longer, but it was clearly not reviewed. I sent in the appeal. I spent hours like kind of collecting everything and making sure I prepared my appeal right. I sent it in. By the end of the day, they said no. Nope. I had to wait it out 3 months of no monetization. Isn't that something? So be careful out there, YouTubers. Paint your beard green for St. Patty's Day, brother. I tell you, Infrared, when we get into the Super Bowl, I'll paint my beard green. That's what I'm doing. I can't do it otherwise. Especially for St. Patty's Day. And I am Irish, even though I thought I was Italian until I was 25. You guys know that story. So I thought I was Italian until I was 25. And then I found out I was Irish. No wonder I got agita all the time. I'm eating all this tomato sauce. I'm not supposed to eat that shit. I'm supposed to be eating potatoes. You know what I mean? But you know what's funny? Even when I was drinking Infrared, I was a very, very big drinker for a long time, 25 plus years, steady daily drinking. On St. Patty's Day, I wouldn't drink. Same thing with not to say I didn't drink on New Year's, but the last few years, I would never go out on. Last few years, I didn't go out on New Year's. I didn't do shit. I would call those 2 nights amateur nights. So when everybody decided to drink, I would stay home and do a bunch of crack, which is better at home anyway. You want to smoke, at least me, I get real paranoid when I was smoking crack. I smoked crack almost every day for 19 years, everybody. So almost every day for 19 years. So when I would smoke crack, I would literally get so paranoid that I was the worst person in the world to hang out with. Like people, nobody wanted to hang out with me. They wouldn't let me do, if I hung out with a few guys and we went and got some crack, they would never let me do the first hit, because as soon as I did the first hit, I got so paranoid that I didn't want to let anybody else do any, because the cops were coming. So I would grab everything and I would hold the pipes and I would be like this. And they'd be like, come on. I'd be like, shut the fuck. I would be threatening everybody. Yeah, I would fucking threaten everybody. They'd be like, dude, fuck this guy. Get this guy out. This guy sucks. Dude, I literally, check this out. One time I used to go into Patterson, New Jersey. I used to go to Patterson, and there were these houses that you could hang out and smoke crack, right? So there'd be like these houses where everybody lives in like there's different people in every room. They would like rent the rooms, right? So these big houses, these big old houses, and there's like 15 people living in there or whatever. Like everybody's, they just rent a room. So there'd be like a dealer in one room. So you'd buy some. So in order to hang out there, you had to buy some and give some to the people who live there, right? So you'd get a place to hang out all night. I literally was so paranoid, so bad, that this is literally a crack house, and they threw me out. They didn't want me in there. That's how bad I was. You know what I mean? Like, that's how bad I was. They were like, dude, get this guy out of here. We can't have him here in a crack house. That's why I don't smoke the crack anymore. Man, I haven't had a hit of crack shit. 2006. I haven't smoked fucking crack, man. Holy shit. That's almost 20 years. 19 years ago. I can remember it now. Now my issue is food, if you can believe that shit, and nicotine pouches, and vapes. It's terrible. I would be a cool leprechaun, wouldn't I? I am a leprechaun. I'm a gnome. You guys ever see? This is how I walk around town. I shit you not. All winter I look like this. So this is my hat. This is how I do it. So you guys just see this. Well, it's like the flap-a-doodle. I do that. I walk around town like that so I can look like a gnome. People are like, what is that look? What are you trying to be, a gnome? I'm like, yeah. Like, why would you want to be a gnome? I'm like, why not? Why not? Who else is looking like a gnome? It's not like I want to be a gnome. I'm not wearing fucking little green overalls and curly boots and shit. I'm not granting wishes and walking around with Lucky Charms or anything like that, which is a leprechaun, by the way. But I'm not doing that. But at the same time, it's like, hey, why not? You know what I mean? Well, I got to fucking go by the newest trend. So anyway, I'm like a little gnome out there. I do act like an Italian because that's how I look. See all the inflections? I'm always moving my hands. I'm knocking shit over because I was raised in that. It's like I was raised in Northeast New Jersey, Italian family. It's like when you see The Sopranos. It's funny. My wife, I shit you not, just this weekend on Sunday, we went to a memorial for a father in our homeschool group that passed away very, very early. The guy was a fucking great guy too, man. Sad, cancer. So we went there, and one of the other moms was talking to my wife about The Sopranos, the TV show The Sopranos, which I only watched a couple seasons of just like a year ago because I never watched it because I don't know. I just felt like, number one, I worked on the show, props and cars. So I was like there. So I don't know. I never watched the shows that I work on because it's a whole thing. I don't know. It just bothers me a little bit. So I used to work on lots of shows, Third Watch, Law and Order, SVU, Sopranos, and all that shit. Lots of movies. But so I didn't watch it because it's like, I don't know. It feels like it's like making fun. It's like, I don't know, over embellishing what my grandmother's house was like. That's what it was like. But the mother was saying, like, I'm so fascinated with that show, like how they talk and the whole thing. And my wife's like, oh yeah, my wife's from Baltimore. And she's like, she's like, no, that's actually real. She's like, what do you mean? Like they really talk like that? And it's like, yeah, like my wife's like, she's like, no, it's real. Like they really do say gabagool. Like we don't say gabagool. It's not a G. It's still a C, but gabagool. That's how I've always said it. I don't know. Manigot. Mozzarella, the whole thing. But it's just funny to hear other people. I'm down here in Virginia and they're like fascinated with it. They're like, oh my God, it's such, because I'm always like, hey, but I don't mean it because I was raised that way. I'm supposed to be saying, where's my lucky charms? But not. I'm not from New York. I'm from New Jersey. So I lived in New Jersey until 2006. That's when I got arrested. The last time I did a shot of heroin. I did a shot of heroin. This was before fentanyl was known to be a thing. I got a fentanyl bag, and I used to stop off in West Orange and do a little hit, and then I would drive the rest of the way home. I'd get normal, and I'd go home and do whatever. So I did my normal thing, and it was a fentanyl bag, and I fucking drove through a telephone pole on Northfield Avenue. I actually tore down the power lines to the Turtleback Zoo. That little zoo in West Orange? I crashed into a telephone pole that pulled the power lines down for a portion of the Turtleback Zoo. And I got arrested and the whole thing, and I sat in jail. And then they shipped me to a rehab in Miami, and that effectively ended my life in New Jersey. I never lived in New Jersey again. So that was 2006. That was January of 2006. Yeah, Yeti. I know. Back when I was smoking crack, it's like, Artie Lang. You ever heard of Artie Lang? I opened for Artie Lang like 5 or 6 times at some shows when I was a comedian up there. But so Artie Lang used to have this great joke where he talks about one day when he was on heroin. He tells this really funny story, but he starts it with, when you're on heroin, lost in the woods. Oh, no, he said, no. He said, when you're on heroin, taking a shit in the woods, like, it's just like, it's a great line. It's just so funny. Cause like, who the hell knows that? When you're on heroin, so anyway, yeah. You hate Patterson. You're from my family's from Newark. That's where my mom and everybody grew up, Newark. And that's the end of my drug use was Newark. I started in Patterson, but then I moved over to Newark because I was closer. And that's where I ended up. I slept in projects in Newark and all that shit, man. But I used to work in Patterson. I'm the Michael Clemens of crackheads, Hennessy says. Oh, I like that. Yeah, I was a failure. It's like, hey, Drums, thanks, buddy. You remember. Drums remembers. He knows the stories. But yeah, you remember? So yeah, the Turtleback Zoo. Yeah, dude, that's real. That's real, dude. I'm telling you, at the end of, yeah, you can laugh, man. It's funny. I'll tell you what, there's nothing funnier to me now. Like at the time, it was like just the most painful existence, but there's nothing funnier to me now than a good crackhead story. Like, I don't know. It makes me laugh because crack is the strangest drug. I mean, meth too. Like, my meth days when I was out in LA shooting porn. I was in the Valley in Los Angeles filming adult films. And I hooked up with like the porn world, and they like crystal meth. So I was doing that. And like, shit you not, man, I would just sit in this apartment for days without sleeping a minute, for days. On crystal meth, and that shit gets weird. Like day 2, the 48 hours of no sleep and a bunch of weirdos naked running around snorting meth. Let me tell you, man, that's when shit gets weird. People start taking fucking the apartment apart and pulling up the carpet and shit. It gets weird. I had this guy. So everybody be naked and doing stuff, right? So there was like the porn world. So everybody's running around naked for days and everybody's snorting meth. And I had this guy, he was doing this project for like, I don't know, 24 hours. But what he did was he found like 15 mirrors. little mirrors, big mirrors, long mirrors, wide mirrors. And he set these mirrors up all over the apartment so he could sit in this one chair and he could see me. Like he would be facing the other way, but it was like mirror, 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 mirror in the kitchen and the thing and the and he had them all figured out so he could see me and he could look at me from the other side of the place. Like, I was like, dude, what the fuck is going on? JJ Homs, that's a great shirt. Kiss her where it smells. Take her to New Jersey. That's funny. But anyway, yeah, Artie had a tough run. Yeah, I'll tell you what, Eddie, I used to listen to like the end of his Howard Stern days. You remember like they would like let him sleep and shit, and he was always like falling asleep and all that stuff. Like to me, like they don't know anything about addiction, and that's my world, right? Like both using, and then I've been in the addiction field since August of 2006. So I can recognize it very, very well. So when that was all happening with Artie, I remember my wife too, because we're both in that thing. My wife was a really hardcore addict in Baltimore City. So I would listen to that show and they didn't know what it was. They thought he was like, he was overweight. So he was all the stupid shit that they would say and they would make jokes at. And I'm like, dude, Artie is like, he's clearly degrading because of addiction and the depression and all that shit that comes with it. Like I recognized it right away. And it was just so sad to me. And I knew him. So I was never really close with Artie Lang, but I knew him and he was such a great guy. He's such a fucking good guy to hang out with. He's so nice. He was like a sweetheart, So it was like, I remember hearing that shit thinking like, man, he's having a tough go. I recognized it right away. And then he ended up with that suicide attempt and all that shit. Very, very sad. But anyway, let's bring it back. Let's see. Robert Lutz. My ex-wife, prison, and the Jets only makes me stronger today. Thanks for right. That's the thing, right? It's like, dude, I'm a firm believer that the New York Jets, like in addition to the sitcom thing and all that shit that I believe is true, the Jets, I think like it's cosmic, right? Like we're all together. Like there's a lesson in here for us as humans, as men and women. Like there's something here for us. It's like it's an exercise in like things like patience, overcoming obstacles, right? Like perseverance, like the lessons are here because man, this team gives us very little other than hopium. Nice hopium shots. So there you go. Emmanuel says, I never laughed this hard in a while. Good. Well, yeah, good. That's the goal, man. Like, again, there are people out there struggling and suffering, but I help a lot of people every day. So we're doing it. But it's like, dude, if we can't laugh at this shit, we can't laugh at it, man. I don't know what I would do. I'd definitely, if laughing wasn't an option, I'd be crying all day. So anyway, let's see. So anyway, in summation, Justin Fields is a win-win for us. And I'm telling you guys, there's a chance. Reunited with Garrett Wilson and Jeremy Ruckert. Okay. We got a young 21st century offensive mind, just worked under the top offensive head coaching candidate for this cycle in Ben Johnson, worked with Aaron Glenn in Detroit. We get a former Jet, head coach who shared some of our pain, knows the deal, said he's still not over that AFC championship game against the Broncos. I like that. But Justin Fields reunited with Garrett Wilson and Jeremy Ruckert, 26 years old, has steadily improved. Granted, maybe not the leaps and bounds you'd like to see, but the improvement's still there. He had a rough go. He had bad organizations. So he's going to be humble, and he's got a prove it type of a contract. He's super athletic, good with his feet, rocket arm, very strong arm. If they can rein this in, utilize his skill set, not try to make him into something he's not, just capitalize and build on what he has with guys like Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, Malachi Corley, who I'm still very high on. I think this offensive staff just had no fucking idea what they were doing. They had no idea what they were doing. Think about it. Guys like Mecole Hardman come here, not good enough for us. They got to go. We need a guy, Xavier Gibbs. Mike Williams comes here. He's got, Mike Williams we know exactly what he is in the NFL. They wanted to make him into something different. He wasn't good enough for this offensive staff. They've developed nobody. People come here and they regress, but then we get Mecole Hardman, 2 big free agent wide receiver signings in 2 years, both of them traded midseason. What the fuck is going on, right? And they can't utilize guys like Kenny Yeboah. They can't use him. They can't figure out how to use Malachi Corley. He's the Yak King. Why does he got to be perfect? Use the skill set that he has. If he gets 3 receptions a game, who cares? Use the guy. He can't even make it on the active roster. So I still think Malachi Corley is just a guy. He's a balloon waiting to pop, baby. That's what he is. So I'm in. I'm in. And if it doesn't work, no harm, no foul. You can do a lot worse as your number 2 quarterback than Justin Fields for year 2. And you just use your high draft pick to grab your quarterback next year. And then you got Justin Fields as your backup quarterback. Dude, I'm telling you, it's a win-win. It's the smartest move we could have made this offseason. That's how I see it. That's why Justin Fields is going to be a success as the New York Jets quarterback. He's going to succeed, everybody. And that's what I got for you. Guys, don't forget to hit the like button before you leave. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. And I'll remind you that tomorrow night, 8 p.m., I'll be with none other than the great Tigo at 8 p.m. on the Talking Jets Network for the Armchair GM. And we'll have the Thursday thick of it with Gunny and Dom C and myself here at 8 p.m. on GreenBean's Jetsfan. I'm also doing the Boy Green show at 3 p.m. on Thursday. So I'll see you guys then. With that all said, I love you guys, but it is midnight after all. So as all things do, this must end. Have a great night, everybody. I'll see you next time.
I think he's going to be day one, a violent vertical edge setter.